This video we will talk about function. So what is function? Function you can think about just like math, we have a function. A lot of time you see math, we have the function. Then you have the f, represent a function. Then you have parentheses, that's the value you passing. So this value you passing in math, they will replace the variable x. So then f of 27, that will be the result after you passing the input value to your function. So yeah, very similar to math. A function in programming language, that's the same thing. We define a function. We can have a user-defined function. We can have the built-in function. So f represent like the function name. So then you have the parentheses passing some value. We call that argument. Different function, they have different number of argument. For this example, we only have one argument need to pass to replace the variable we need to calculate the function. Okay, so that's we call the function. So function, sometimes like we say, you can have one argument, then you have more than one argument. We have to using the command to separate the argument. So in this example, we have a max. The max is a built-in function in Python as well. They can pass in more than one argument. Then they will return the greatest value from that argument. To separate the argument, we use the comma. Yeah, so that's some example in Jupyter Notebook. Like earlier we say, yeah, max is a function, built-in function in Python. Okay, so of course you need to find the math. You need to have at least one argument. But then also you can have more than one argument. So for example, we can add even more number here. Okay, so then they will just return the biggest value from the argument. Then we have absolute value for the built-in function as well. You know, the absolute value, they just return, they kind of remove the sign to return you the value. They can be whole number or decimal number. So your absolute value, they just remove the negative sign. So then they give it an absolute value. Okay, so sometimes if you have different variable, okay, you can assign your variable. Like here, we have our variable is temperature in the date. So the temperature in the night. So then you can have your function to this one. Let me move to the front. Okay, let me move up. Like we introduced you the name as a variable. So then for your function, actually you can pass your variable. Then you can see here they can calculate. So the date, night. So either way, the difference will be 5. No matter you use the night temperature to minus day temperature, they find the absolute value. So that will be their difference. So then, actually, sometimes we see the XQRT is the square. Square root. Can we have the square root? Okay, so we try to run this function. Okay, you can see here they told you it's not defined. It just means actually it's not a built-in function. So square root actually is in the math library. So some function, they are built-in function, but square root is not. So then we need to import. So in Python, if we want to import the library, use the import keyword. So we have math library. So you need to make sure you run that. Okay, so now if we do the square root, but the same thing, it's not just to write the square root. So like we say, since you run this one already, right? So you import already, we can run this one. Okay, they still give you the error because square root is the built-in function. They don't have that. Even we say math, you have the square root function. since they are under math library, okay, so then you need to do the math dot square root. Okay, so then now we run. Okay, so then you have square root. So sometimes your function, you just right away call that, we call that built-in function. But some function actually they are in specific library. You need to import the library. So then the function is associate, use the dot with some library. Okay, so then here math actually we have many different function. Okay, you can see from here. Okay, so let me do it again. I need to show you everything. So in order to know some library we import and they have some function you can use, you just do the math. For example, we import the math dot, then you press the tab key. So then they will show you all the function in the math library. Okay, so then you can see they have log, they have many more. So you see they have log 10. We just say, for example, we have log 10. So then you see 10,000. Okay, so when you run, right, you have 4, that's equal to 4. So that's the math library. And also we do have some other built-in method, built-in function, like the round. So this one actually, you see the number is gone. Actually, they are not a code. Sometimes you see if they have the in and square bracket, they are not the code cell. So in order to make them, I don't know why that happened, but you can see here they change the cell type. So we can change back to the code. So then you run again. So then they will treat them as a code. So you can run to the whole number or you can run to the specific digit. So if I want to have 2 decimal digits to run, okay, so then that's the 2. And sometimes if you don't know the argument for your function, we can just see the run, then we run that. You can see they show you the function and how many arguments they have. And also they give you the argument variable name here. Okay, so that's why your run have 2 arguments. The first argument, if you want to use a variable to represent for that, is number. The second one is the number of the digit. But when they say equal to none, that means this argument can be skipped. So that's why here, if you do the run, we also can do this way. Okay, so the number of digits equal to 3. Okay. But be careful for this argument variable name is only in the function itself. That's what we mean. We call that a local variable. If you try to access the number to display, okay, you see they have arrow. They say it's not defined. So that's what we talk about. We talk about a little bit. That's what we call the scope. Okay, so the variable we call that argument name. Okay, so that's because you see you call the function. They show you the signature for the function. Then they give you the argument variable name. This argument can only be accessed inside the function. So it's not the scope only within the function. But if you want to using the same variable name, can you do that? You can. But one thing is they are in different scope. If I just using the number because we didn't define earlier. So if you just try to print the number itself, they will tell you it's not defined. Okay. But here, if we say number equal to 9.23 and you display the number now, okay, they will display 934. Okay, but here if we run this cell, again, since we are doing the practice, so that's why I will jump to here to run the cell again. Okay, but they are not related. They are not related. So this one, just because we do the practice, like earlier we told you, if you do the homework assignment, please do not jump your cell. But here I just want to show you the practice. Okay, so we have the number. Okay, we run here. Okay, so this number, you see, this number is in the function scope. They are 12.333. They use that. So earlier we run, and again, to run the number, they was told you they didn't define. But because this number, earlier we run 24 first, we declare the numbers variable in our environment scope. So that's why now if you run this cell again, they will show you that's 9.34 because they are in this Jupyter Notebook environment. So that's why this variable is in this scope. So when you want to display the number, even earlier you already run this one. If we want to, we can change to other number. We run this function. So this number scope is within the function. They are this value. Okay. But here you see if you run again, okay, they show you it's not 12.22233 because in this scope, this number variable is in our big Jupyter Notebook scope, in our environment scope. Okay, so you can play with that, some built-in function or the function under the math library. Make sure you practice with that. So back to what we covered for the function. Some function require a particular number of arguments. Every function have their specific particular number of arguments they use. Absolute value, of course, you only have one passing argument. But the max function, you can do as many as you want. They are both built-in function. So we have max, of course, we have the mini. So the round also is a built-in function. The argument actually you have two. If you want to know how many arguments they have, you can just type the round. Then you run the cell. So Jupyter Notebook tells you what the signature for that function. So then if we want to really use the argument variable, remember that variable, even round, you have the number is the first argument. The second argument is n digit, number of the digit. They are only within the scope in the function. Okay, so here you can type the question mark after a function name to see the documentation, or just type the function name to know how to use that. To see the function signature is not only for the built-in function. So we back to our Jupyter Notebook. You see earlier we have the math log function, right? So the same thing, yeah, you can just run, they give you the signature. Or you want to know more math function, you use a tab. Okay, so we just say, for example, we have cosine. Okay, so if you want to know the signature, you just run, they will give you the signature for that function. So it's not only for the built-in function, also it's for your the library you import the function all under the library. So that's the video about the function.